Welcome back to the White Gray Black Weekly Manga Podcast. This is the podcast where we talk about all of your favorite ongoing Japanese manga. My name is Bruce. I am the proprietor of the White Gray Black YouTube channel. With me again this week is Gautam.
What's up?
This week, we're taking a little detour from talking about currently published stuff, and we're going to make some suggestions for our favorite ongoing manga that we think you should be reading that you probably aren't reading. So no super popular stuff, no Weekly Shonen Jump here, no things with big anime boosts, just manga that you need to go check out right now.
And let me preface by saying that things that are popular in the future, once they get their anime buffs, you'll see a few of those, I'm sure. So
yeah, so in general, we didn't lay down any hard-coded rules here. We essentially just said, hey, no Weekly Shonen Jump, no Jump Plus stuff. Those are just kind of the two rules. We both picked 5 things, so there's 10 things we're going to talk about here. Mine are maybe a little bit more mainstream, but both of us kind of have a couple that are edging into mainstream or about to be mainstream or have a anime coming out. In fact, between the time that we made this list, 1 or 2 of these has had like a anime trailer come out, so you'll see that. In fact, why don't we go ahead and start? I'll start with my first one, because this is the one I was just talking about that had an anime trailer come out, and this is Ranger Reject. This is also called Go Go Loser Ranger, which is a lame name, and I don't like using it. This is called Sentai Daishikkaku. This is by Negi Haruba. He's the author of Quintessential Quintuplets. This series we have talked about on the podcast a couple of times.
The two of us love it.
We love it, yeah. And it sells decently well. I think it has maybe shown up top 10 weekly manga sales like maybe once or twice. It's popular, but it's not Shonen Jump popular. Negi Haruba has a following. Quintessential Quintuplets was really popular. This series is a hard one to kind of put into a genre or describe. It is a little bit of kind of The Boys meets Power Rangers, but there's also a hefty...
I was going to use that same comparison. I think you nailed it.
Yeah, it's got some of that, but it's also got a big hefty helping of sort of a double agent undercover like infiltration mission. The main character is essentially a foot soldier who is a bad guy to the Rangers, essentially the Power Rangers in this world, and he gets fed up with getting sort of destroyed and reborn every single week. He says, I'm going to go and take out the Rangers. I'm going to, do something about this shitty lot I've been dealt in life. And he finds kind of 2 co-conspirators who also think like, oh yeah, the Rangers are definitely not all good. They are doing, it turns out that the 2 other co-conspirators he meets early on have their own sort of reasons for trying to change or break up the Rangers or kill the Rangers, whatever it's going to be. But all of that kind of leads up to him taking on the main character, the foot soldier D, takes on the personality, goes undercover, sort of trains up to be a member of the sort of the lower ranking Rangers. And that's kind of the bulk of the story, is this kind of, the foot soldiers are all shapeshifters, so he can change the way he looks. And so he uses that to go undercover, kind of into the Rangers, and there's a lot of intrigue around, well, are all the Rangers bad, or only some of the Rangers bad? Are the executives who are kind of the leading bad foot soldier guys, are they all good? Are they all bad? Is everyone just sort of out for themselves? What's going on? And it's such a cool, smartly written series with neat action, and the main character is a breath of fresh air. If you're looking for someone who is different from other shonen protagonists, Foot Soldier D is such a like sneaky little shitbag. He does not play by the rules. He is underhanded. He gets what he wants. He's also sort of not very, how do I say it? He doesn't have a large skill set other than kind of being a sneaky little shit is kind of his one thing. So
I do appreciate that. I like that. Dee's just like wildly interesting and fun as a character. He's a complete shithead, but I do like that the Negi still hasn't given him any kind of overpowered abilities. He's still working with his base level, like his level 1 skill set, and is doing shit well. I like it.
yeah, he hasn't had him, steal any of the powerful ranger artifacts or anything like that. This is just an expertly written series. I knew when I read Quintessential Quintuplets that this author, Negi Haruba, was not your average author. The way that he wrote Quintessential Quintuplets in making it sort of a mystery hidden inside a harem was so much smarter than every other romance or harem I had ever read. And it continues because Ranger Reject is an incredibly smartly written series. It's some of the things that have been revealed this year specifically are clearly were sort of planned since this started maybe 3 years ago now, I think is when this started. And an anime is coming, I think, in January or soon. I don't know if we got an actual announcement for it, but a trailer just dropped for this. Go Loser Ranger, or Sentai Daishikkaku.
Looks cool.
Yeah, it looks pretty decent. I think it has a good director behind it. The studio is not super well known. I think it's Yostar. But this is something I think more people should be reading, because I think this is one of the most unique. There's just nothing else like it, like anywhere. Which is why even if you compare it to The Boys, that's maybe the closest comparison you can make, but it's not as hyper-violent, and it's not as sort of edgy nonsense, cursing and explosions and stuff. It's a lot more kind of, I wouldn't say a lot more smart, but it's more of a manga angle to it. But yeah, I mean, this is great. Definitely more people should be reading this. I think that hopefully the anime boosts it up, especially if they advertise it as the author of Quintessential Quintuplets, because that was a very, very popular series. But yeah, anything else?
I figure we'll see a boost. No, I think you said it well. I'm looking forward to the anime, because the series is just wildly fun. So go check it out.
Tons of fun, great stuff. All right, Gautam, tell me about the Apothecary Diaries.
Have you read this one, Bruce?
I think I have read the first 2 or 3 chapters. This is the one that's... Is this the one that's like in Mongolia and the girl gets like traded? I'm thinking of something else actually now that I say this.
Maybe you're thinking it's China, and the girl gets more or less put into like
sold as a wife, kind of, right?
Yeah, it's like a big brothel.
Okay,
or
maybe I haven't read this.
Yeah,
I think I've read something else, but yeah,
she gets effectively sold or traded in as a maid at this brothel, and the time period, these are all, it isn't like a brothel like you're thinking about. It's more so like a brothel for the emperor and like higher ups, and these are courtesans, not like
courtesans, courtesans, whatever they're called.
Yeah. So it's like a noble-ish profession, you know what I mean? It's a period piece where the main character is a maid, but she's also her whole life was an apothecary, studied under her dad and all that, and it's more or less about her solving medical related mysteries, be it like physical ailments, poison, trauma, like anything like that. Like her first mystery was like the makeup powder. One of the top courtesans was using had like some substance in it that is actually poisonous, and is the reason that courtesan had like lost so many babies in the past. Stuff like that.
Interesting.
It's basically just her being Sherlock Holmes.
Sounds a little bit like. Have you ever seen Hyuga, the KyoAni series, where it's like?
Oh no, I heard that was good.
There's a lot of that sort of like, there's all these little mysteries kind of set against a slice of life setting. That's kind of maybe the vibe I'm getting here.
Yeah, very much so. And it's more or less her working her way up using her skill set. It's an award-winning manga, and it's very just compelling all the way through. And if you like a little mystery series, this is for you. It has a side romance too, but it's not really the forefront of this thing. It has an anime this season. So,
I was about to say this one either has an anime coming soon or is it this season? So this would be fall.
It is this season.
Yeah, fall 23 season Apothecary Diaries.
I haven't seen it yet. I think the first episode might be out already.
I think most first episodes should be out, although by the end of this week, I think all the first episodes should be out, unless it's something weird like Pluto, which I think doesn't premiere until the end of the month. But yeah.
Yeah, this thing won a lot of awards, so I imagine it's going to get a good adaptation. But I can't tell you if the anime is good or not because I haven't seen it yet. But I know the manga is good.
Yeah, we've been since we started the podcast about a year ago. This I know has shown up in some of the top 10 sales things.
For sure.
A lot of the discussions, a lot of the awards that happen throughout the year. This has shown up. So yeah, this is a very highly regarded manga. So yeah, really.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say it's underrated or unpopular, but I do know it is not known in the West. So I wanted to bring this one up because it deserves to be. It's really good.
Yeah, I think a lot of our list is more. They might sell well in Japan, but maybe they're less known in the West. So I think that's a good angle to take. Because I don't see these chapter discussions. I don't see on Reddit. I don't see people tweeting about this super often. So I do think more
many people on Reddit know about it. Mm-hmm. You know, I think they used to be on Reddit discussions. Then I guess they just fell off.
Is this this might be a Kodansha publication, so it might be locked behind the K Manga app, which really killed a lot of discussions on Reddit whenever that launched. So it might be one of those.
That could be the case.
Yeah, I thought usually Kodansha labels them, but I don't know. Cool. Anything else about Apothecary Diaries?
Nope. Let's move on to the next one.
Awesome. This is probably the most popular thing you will see in our list, I would guess. Maybe second most popular. This is Don't Toy With Me, Miss Nagatoro, or what is it? Ijiranaide Nagatoro-San. This is by Nanashi. This is another Shonen Magazine thing, so they same publication as Ranger Reject. Most people probably already know what this is. This is a pretty well-known kind of series, I would say. That being said, I think Don't Toy With Me, Miss Nagatoro is maybe the best ongoing romance series in manga right now. I think it is in the top 3. I think it is absolutely in competition. There is a hump to get over in the start where Nagatoro is very abusive that for, 15 or 20 chapters. After that, this is like expertly woven, slow build character development, very well written characters. The characters are fun. This is a funny series. This has some great humor in it. The side characters are all really fun.
To be honest, it's like 5 chapters. I reread it last year. In animated form, that's like
2 episodes.
It's like an hour,
maybe.
Yeah, but in manga version, it's a short stint of bullying.
Okay, yeah, I couldn't remember. It had been a long time since I read it, but this is. I think this is already pretty popular. So this is, like I said, this is maybe the most popular thing on here. That being said, I do think since the end of Kaguya-san, Love is War, late last year, this has sort of replaced, maybe not replaced isn't the right word, this has risen to the top, like I said. I think this is one of, if not the best ongoing romance manga, romance shonen at least, being published right now, that I'm reading. So I just really, really think more people should be into this. I think the action is great. Anytime Nagatoro's doing her judo or whatever, I think it's drawn really well. Nanashi, I think, is a great artist. I think the facial expressions are all great. I like the characters and the character design. This is a series that just doesn't miss for me. And I really, really wish that more people kind of had it at the top of their list or talked about it, because this year especially of chapters of Nagatoro have been like really, really good. I think it's getting, I won't necessarily say it's getting close to an end, but it's getting close to a resolution or a climax or a confession or something. The 2 main characters are practically dating already, if you read it week to week, I would say. So feels very, it's just a great, solid, kind of from every angle little series that I just really wish that more people were paying attention to as a sort of shonen romance. I know shonen romance is kind of a smaller, like a much, much smaller subset of shonen. And since Kaguya ended, Kaguya was like the big one, and Komi-san has kind of fallen off, so people don't talk about that as much. I think this is the new king of shonen romance, in my opinion.
I don't even know if they release Komi chapters anymore, like the scans for Komi chapters.
It's not. I mean, it's official on Viz, I think now.
Okay.
Because it's like side publication, but yeah, they do still come out. It's on chapter 416 or some shit.
Christ.
It's like the third. It's super.
But in regards to Nagatoro, I think it's like this is easily the most popular thing on the list. But that said, I think it didn't ever reach the popularity it deserved for how good it is. Because Kaguya existed, you know.
And Kaguya was kind of I would say it's like a better version of it, but the teasing and the writing is a little bit smarter in Kaguya. Is that? Yeah, it's hard to reach Akasaka levels of stuff. I mean, obviously,
yeah, that was like that felt like a consistently 9 to 10 out of 10 series. It's hard to, with that consistency that Aka put out. It's hard to live in that space because
for sure,
being a shonen romance, you also kind of you mix audience groups, you know, and people tend to prefer Kaguya over everything. So
yeah. Kaguya is one of the best shonen romances ever made, probably ever, maybe the best one ever. So that won a bunch of our awards last year. But yeah, I mean, Miss Nagatoro is just really, really good. I mean, it's got, like I said, great art, great characters, good development. I think we're rushing toward not rushing, but we're moving towards a resolution, an end, a climax, a dating, a confession, something like that. I'm curious if the series will end or continue. I hope it continues. But yeah, it's just really good. I think like you said, I think while it is very popular, I think that a lot of people were turned off by the first season and the sort of premise. You know, I think if you watch the first 2 or 3 episodes of the anime,
that's fair.
The premise in itself is like, man, do I really want to watch like this like mean, sassy girl just bully this introverted guy? That's not for everyone. I understand that. I think if you can push past the sort of initial trauma inflicted by Nagatoro, I think it goes on to become a really sweet, really nice shonen romance.
And I think it's like all a little hyperbolic because it's not even traumatic, the bullying she does. It's like very, very just mild teasing most of the time.
Yeah, for sure.
A little more mean-spirited in the first like 5 chapters or whatever, but that all fixes itself.
Yeah, and I mean, in the time that I've been reading it, which is only maybe like a year and a half now, there's not a whole lot of mean-spirited teasing. There's like a little bit of teasing, obviously, but it's like it's nothing nearly as bad as those first couple. Yeah, it is definitely for sure sort of the tsundere flirting style of Nagatoro. So, yeah. All right, Gautam.
Onwards.
You're up.
Following the most popular manga on our list with the least popular manga on our list, is Yumenashi-sensei. This is a newer one, only 10 chapters out. I found this one on Reddit, our manga. So someone just started translating it, and I really enjoyed it. It talks about it's about a high school guidance counselor who kind of discourages his students' hopes and dreams, and it's meant to sound harsh and fucked up from the premise until you read more. He essentially asks them to be incredibly realistic with themselves about what they hope to achieve, how they intend to get there. And usually like the dreams are like, I want to be a voice actor, or I want to be an idol, or, you know, it's something that has a high chance of failure. And even if you don't fail, you get put in the outskirts of like, you get put in the weird Epstein-y business of voice acting, right?
Right, yeah. Sorry,
Harvey Weinstein. I got them confused. Where
those circles like, overlap pretty.
Yeah, exactly. So it's essentially a manga about how to achieve your dreams, and if you can't, or if your dream is not going well or it's unrealistic, how to reassess at a certain point in your life and still do something you find fulfilling. Instead of chasing that dream you made when you were 14 or 15 and now you're 25 and not close to it, you know, like right. it's a story about the inevitable failures we as humans face and how to pivot from that. And I think it's really unique.
So instead of Naruto's, we are fighting dreamers. It's like we are settling rememberers,
adults
who used to have
settling rememberers.
Rememberers.
Exactly. I don't even know how you know that opening, Bruce. But
everybody knows that opening.
Oh, do they? Okay, yeah, that's their best one. So
I could like sing you the song, and I've literally never seen an episode of Naruto. So
that was my favorite opening as a kid.
That's everyone's favorite. If you ask them, what's your favorite shonen opening? Everyone's like, oh, Fighting Dreamers Naruto. Like,
it's so good. But this is a story not so much about settling, but pivoting.
And understanding. I think it sounds like it's maybe about like how to continue being happy and not being disappointed in yourself for not reaching an insane goal that almost no one will reach, right?
Yeah, and it's like, do you still want this as an adult? Is this still as appealing to you now as it was back then?
Right.
And it's a lot about facing the realistic and highly difficult choices an idealistic dream takes you to, like the bad parts about it and having to reconcile and face those. It is an optimistic manga, regardless of my description of it. It's just really good. And I think if you're of high school age or goal setting, I think this is an interesting view on what it's like chasing down said goals. So yeah, go check it out.
Cool. That sounds really interesting. I'm gonna have to check this one out because I haven't read any of this, so it's on the list. All right, let's see what's next up. More romance. So next up is You and I Are Polar Opposites by Kocha Agasawa. I started reading this 3 weeks ago now. Speaking of some of the best romances, this one immediately grabbed me. This is essentially the girl is kind of a airhead, fashionista, kind of outgoing, loudmouth kind of girl, and the guy is super quiet, serious, straightforward type, which you're thinking like, yes, this is, we have seen this. This happens in Bisque Doll. This happens in a bunch of other romances. I think this one does it better. I think that this is a lot of fun to read. I like that the main couple gets together, like I think at the end of chapter 1 or chapter 2, maybe. It's Reiwa era. There's no beating around the bush. Again, the fact that the guy is really straightforward helps a lot. The fact that the girl is sort of really outgoing and talkative helps a lot. The side characters in this story are really good. The facial expressions are really fun. This very recently won an award that we talked about maybe a month ago, which is what got me interested in it. I think got like second place in one of those awards. This is a Jump Plus thing, I will mention. We said that no Jump Plus things, but doesn't matter. It's on here anyways. I think this is, again, up there in competition for one of the best ongoing shonen romances. I think since we got, the Insomniacs After School ended, that was a really great one. That's over now. Kaguya's over. Komi-san is not good anymore. Those were kind of maybe the big three a year or two ago of what I would say were really good shonen romances. I think You and I Are Polar Opposites is really, really good. I think it's really fun. I think it's really funny. I think the art in it is great. Like I said, I think the facial expressions, character design, all that stuff is good. It's got the Reiwa energy that we all love. It's just got that sort of like, a problem shows up and they just kind of deal with it. There's none of this like drama that lasts for chapters and chapters of, they're not going to talk to each other. Like essentially the two main characters get together and they go on a date and they have like a misunderstanding that's resolved by the end of a chapter or two. And then we're already in my, I've only read maybe 15 or 20 chapters of this. We're already moving on to like side ships, like other, side characters that are getting character development and stuff like that. So, and I'm, me, I am character first type of guy. This series really focuses on that, I think, especially with all the side character stuff it's been doing recently, in the chapters I've been reading. So really, really into that. Really like this series. This one, I think, did this get an anime announcement? I don't know if this did or not, but if this is animated by a good anime studio, people are gonna like this one because it's got that Reiwa energy. They're gonna be dating at the end of the first episode. I think people are gonna appreciate that a lot. This one's gonna be big.
You know, I've read like 4 or 5 chapters, and I also enjoyed it. And not to shit on Sono Bisque Doll, because this is not what I'm trying to do. Is in Sono Bisque Doll, like the characters are all like 14 or 15 or something like that.
Yeah,
they're all
freshmen
young,
or sophomores, first or second years in high school. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, but they look and act older than they are. Whereas I think you and I are polar opposites. They act very much like high school kids.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think that's really good for the setting, right? Because it's relatable to any high school readers. And for me, it's like, oh wow, yeah, this awkward energy both of them are putting out is exactly how I felt in high school. You know?
Yeah, that's a good call out. This definitely does remind me of like, oh yes, I remember feeling like this, or going through, your first date with a girl at the mall or whatever, and thinking like, what do I
Googling's
do?
Like, what do I talk about?
Do I hold her hand? Yeah. My hand is sweaty when I hold their hand. What is, is that bad? Do they care? All this other stuff. It definitely has that. The characters are very young. That's not the right. They are appropriate. Right? Yeah, they act their age. They are appropriately aged. They do not act older than they are. They aren't these mature, sage-like wisdom characters telling each other how to handle relationships and how to deal with stress. They're kids. They're kids dating. It's fun.
Yeah, it's like I think it's like reliving the I'm figuring stuff out aspect of life that I don't think a lot of authors who do like high school romances ever capture. It's the unsureness of everything.
You're at an age where you think you want to be on your own and you think you know who you are, but you're changing so fast and there's that confusion. And this captures that really well, I think. That it's got that. It just knows what it's like to be that age. They're 14, 15, whatever in this series, but yeah, this is a really well written series. I'm excited to keep reading it. Excited to get back to it and finish it up because, like I said, this won some awards. I think this is going to be a real big. It's going to be the next big shonen romance if it gets adapted. Maybe after. Nagatoro's already been adapted. So, but yeah, I think this one is on the up, and you're going to see a lot more of it coming up.
Alrighty,
ready to go.
Onwards.
Next up. Slight tonal switch.
Yeah, just a little bit, right? Yeah, so have you ever wondered what it was like, what it would be like if Adam, creator of humanity, fought Odin? Or, no, it's...
I have not.
Zeus. It's Zeus. Yes. Yeah, you can find out in incredibly well illustrated and an incredibly fun comic called Record for Ragnarok. I think it's called Shimetsu no Valkyrie or something like that in Japanese, but
it has a slightly different name in Japanese. Yeah, Record of Ragnarok, I think, is the English, anglicized version.
Basically, all the gods got together from all religions and mythologies, and they said, "Hey, fuck humanity, let's kill them." And they took a vote, and they're like, "Okay, it's only fair we let humans fight too." And the Valkyries sided with the humans, so they got the best of humanity to fight one-on-one with the best gods have to offer. And it's just a bunch of one-on-one, a huge tournament arc, and it's ridiculous and it's awesome. And the art is fucking fantastic.
The art in this is great, yeah. I was about to say, I don't think I've read a chapter of this, but I've seen arts and spreads and some of the action paneling and stuff, and this is a really visually appealing series.
I know this one had an anime, but the anime was shit. So, and didn't even come close to competing with the manga's art. So I'm here to pitch the manga to anyone who's listening. Go read this shit. It's fun as fuck. You do indeed get to see Jack the Ripper fight Hercules, and that one's probably one of my favorites. So
I think I maybe saw the chapter that was the end of that. Though you've brought this up to One More Thing once or twice. I don't want to say the end of last year, maybe you brought it up and I went and read that chapter, or maybe you just told me to read it at some point in the past. And I read the chapter and I was like, okay, that was pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's fun. And it's well illustrated. So honestly, I have nothing but praise for it. Like the plot is a bit iffy here and there, but I think it still gets everyone invested. And I don't think the plot is really what you're here for. To be honest, you're here for a bunch of awesome one-on-one fights, and it delivers in spades.
Yeah, this strikes me as sort of a One Punch Man like, where it's like the plot in One Punch Man. I can barely tell you what it is. Who cares? It doesn't matter. You're not here for that. You're here for cool fight scenes and wild, incredible like beasts fighting men and stuff like that. It sounds like this is the same kind of. You're here for the spectacle. You're here for the action. You're here like you aren't. The plot is who cares? It's people fight.
Yeah, I think like the last one. I'm like, for context, I'm like 10, 15 chapters behind, but I think the last one was like Isaac Newton versus Lucifer.
And they chose Isaac Newton as one of the best fighters of humanity. That's interesting.
Yeah, Isaac Newton built a mech suit in this universe.
Gotcha.
For the fight.
Yeah, I remember Jack the Ripper had
suit.
like also some weird suit or something, or like a cloak, or I don't remember.
They all have like specific weapons that the Valkyries turn into to enable them to fight gods. But yeah, the Jack. I don't know why Japan is so in love with Jack the Ripper, but
dude,
he's cool. He's cool.
Weird.
He's cool in this one. Yeah.
They made Jack the Ripper into a lolly for one of the Type Moon, whatchamacallit, one of the Fate series. I'm pretty sure
what
it has
the Fate thing?
small girl Jack the Ripper. I've heard that. I'd have to go.
I think it's by proxy of having the coolest like serial killer name.
That is true. That is true.
I think that
Jack
is
the Ripper, and also being sort of like we don't know who Jack the Ripper actually was. I think we have.
True.
Like, it's
you can
very
craft him
mythological.
Into
yeah, very mythological type figure where it's not like, oh yeah, it was this guy and he killed this many people. It's just like, well, there was just a guy in 1860s or whatever that killed all these people.
He could be anyone.
Yeah. You're reminding me that I need to go back and read. I own From Hell, which is Grant Morrison, I want to say, maybe wrote that, which is a comic about Jack the Ripper that I need to go back and read because I actually never finished it. But anyways, cool. Anything else about Record of Ragnarok?
In that comic? Yeah, in that comic, he fights Hercules later, and it's pretty cool. So,
nice.
Wait,
is Hercules... Hercules is a demigod. Does Hercules fight for the gods or for the humans?
He fights for the gods.
Okay.
He fights for the gods begrudgingly.
Oh, okay. That sounds more like Hercules.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I am kind of. All right, cool. Anything else on Record of Ragnarok, Gautam?
No, I think it speaks for itself. Go check it out. It's fun.
Yep. Sounds like a fun series. I'll need to check that one out. Speaking of, nope. I got no transition into this one. This is Shonen
Speaking of
no
serial
Abyss.
killers.
Yeah, seriously. Speaking of killing, this is Shonen no Abyss or Boys Abyss. This is by Ryou Minenami. This series puts a smile on my face, and I want to say that in the most unsarcastic, non-sadistic way possible. Boys Abyss is fucking insane. It is the wildest, most soap operatic, like Greek tragedy, maybe supernatural, maybe like season 13 of your favorite, not CW show. It's wild. I love Boys Abyss. It is the most insane, tragic. The premise is essentially there's a boy who lives in this town with his mom, and his brother is like a shut-in, and his grandma is on like home rest, and he meets this like beautiful, gorgeous girl who works at a supermarket, and they kind of say, hey, we should commit suicide together. They don't actually go and do that, but that kind of opens up this world to this boy of this girl is engaged to this writer, and this writer knew his mom, and they tried to commit suicide in the past together. And there's all of this, and then he meets another girl who's sort of like a little overweight and unpopular, and she falls in love, and then one of his teachers falls in love with him. Well, his like 30-year-old teacher falls in love with him and starts grooming him, and they have sex. It's like, it's this, like, the thing is, it is this wild, you go like, oh man, shit's bad for this kid. At the very beginning of the story, you're like, yeah, this kid's in kind of a shitty position. And then every single chapter ends with this like, oh shit, it's getting worse. Like, and it's like, this is like 150 chapters deep. Like and every single chapter you finish, you're like, oh fuck, it's getting worse. This is not getting better. It never gets better. And to me, it is entertaining in the same way that a soap opera is entertaining, right? The soap opera is, oh, you thought that I'm not my brother, I'm his twin, and I'm back to take revenge for killing him, throwing him down an elevator shaft. It's literally shit like this. It's shit like, oh, you thought that your dad was this guy, but he was not your dad. The writer might actually be your dad, and if he's actually, and your best friend you don't remember, but your mom had your old best friend kill your dad when you were 5 because she is part of the abyss, and the mother is like the most evil thing.
Can I just say, this sounds like Oshinoko if Aka did like just a lot of crack, It is kind of similar. Oshinoko is like a feel-good story compared to this shit. Like, no kidding. It sounds like it.
And I will say this, I know this sounds very depressing. This deals with some really heavy subjects. This deals with eating disorders and suicide and all these other things. This series to me is fun because it is just so wild. Like, every time you think like, oh, wow, we've reached a new low, what's going to happen? Someone gets hit by a car. Or like I'm not even kidding, like 2 or 3 times, or like, oh man, how can we get even weirder here? And it's like the childhood best friend cross-dresses and stabs the mom. And these are real things that happen to this story. Like, shit, it goes so hard, it is so wild, and it is so entertaining because it's like, how does it get worse? Like, I could not. Things in stories are sometimes fun and surprising because you go, wow, I never would have thought of that. When the author thinks of some cool and interesting way to develop the plot or to do whatever. From like step 1, every single thing that happens in the story is just like, I never would have thought to go like that deep, to go that depraved, to go that awful and like stark and dark. This isn't it's not super gory. It's not super intense or horror or scary, really. It's just over dramatic in the wildest way. You legitimately just want characters to like, I just want them to die so that they are not stuck in these awful lives. Or like, please, you've been given every opportunity to fix your life, or just leave this town, or get away from your mom or your parents or whoever, and they don't do it. Or when they finally do it, you're like, yes, it's maybe finally happening, and then some other bad shit happens. It's never ending. It is there's a lot of discussion around like what the abyss in this story is. Is it the town? Is it the mom? Is it the boy? I don't know. This is, I have this like stupid grin on my face, and I know that this series, like, it deals with heavy subjects. It's very intense. It is very serious, but like, man, it's so wild. It just goes so hard. Every time you think like, oh man, oh yeah, the police are involved now. It'll finally, some things will get resolved. It's like, oh no, some other girl's parents have threatened to kill like this kid again now. It's like, I just can't imagine how like wild and insane shit gets in this story. All that being said, it's really, really, really good character writing, really exceptional art, and especially the sort of symbolism written into the art, especially with the kind of light and darkness. Again, there's lots of questions around who's the abyss. Is it a location? Is it a person? Which person is it in the story? Is it all of the people in the story? Is it none of the people in the story? How do they escape the abyss? Can anyone escape the abyss?
They just gotta go find and kill Pennywise, it sounds like.
I mean, like, literally, if they ended a chapter with like a supernatural, like a clown in the sewers, I would be like, oh yeah, total sense. Makes total sense. Like, there's some fucked up demon thing doing all this shit to these people. So again, like I was saying, it sounds like it's wild and crazy, but this is a really, really, really well-written series, and I absolutely adore everything that happens in it, even though it is, like I said, kind of a little bit off the rails, a little bit bonkers, a little bit wild, a little bit melodramatic. I will say this is a melodrama in every sense of the word. It
sounds like the word "a little bit" is doing a lot of heavy lifting when it sounds like it's a lot of bit wild and crazy.
Yeah, no, you're right. This is a melodrama, like in every sense of the word. Like Oshinoko is a drama. This is a melodrama, right? This is as drastic and as bad and as wild and crazy as the people and the characters and the events can be. They will be that wild and crazy. But it's backed up and it's built The reason I like it and the reason it's on this list for me is it is built on a skeleton of what I think is incredible character writing, just really solid visual storytelling, and it's so good. I wish more people read this.
And a literal skeleton of someone who died in that comic.
Lots of skeletons in the closets. Like almost, I would say, let me check. Almost every single character has been either directly responsible or involved in the death of one other character in this series. Like,
oh my god, Jesus.
And some for like multiple people. There's a couple of characters you could be like, that might count as being a serial killer. I don't know. This is just like and this is again, like I said, a lot of my list is already kind of decently popular. This is a decently popular series already in Japan. But man, I wish this is going to be one of those things where if we get, like 3 or 4 or 5 seasons deep of this a couple of years down the road, people are going to enjoy watching this because it just keeps getting worse. Like, it just does not get better. And like, the only end I can see for the story is like, legitimately, I think everyone dies at the end of it. Like, there's no other answer. Like, it just has to be. Or maybe not. The author has surprised me in the past a lot of times, but yeah, I absolutely adore Boys Abyss. For me, it is fun in the sense that it is just so melodramatic and overly dramatic that it is just an enjoyable read. And like I said, I think it's built on a really good skeleton. If you're triggered by certain things that I've mentioned in the past, maybe skip this one. There's other things you can read that are not as triggering, because this does deal with some heavy stuff, some suicidal ideation, a lot of violent type stuff like that. Yeah, a lot of suicidal thoughts in this thing, obviously, because these people are going through the absolute shitter. So, yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I love Boys Abyss. It's just so wild and crazy. And every Friday, I think it comes out for us, I look at it and I'm like, oh, hell yes, what's going to happen this week? And it just gets worse. It never gets better. You know that when it starts to get better, you're like, oh no, it's just like, it's a roller coaster climbing up. It's like, oh yeah, we'll get to the top and we'll be really high up and that'll be the end of the ride. It's like, nope, it is going to drop you off a cliff right at the other side.
Yeah, the audience is just waiting for the fall.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's Boys Abyss. What do you got next, Gautam?
All right, let's
tell
get
me
off Mr. Bones'
about
wild ride.
the Demon King's Daughter is Too Kind by Sakamoto Yuya.
Yeah, this one I feel like should be more popular than it is. I don't think it's that popular. It's just adorable. It's just in this world, demons are cruel and awful, like every anime world, and I guess real life mythology. I don't know. But yeah, the Demon Lord's daughter Do is just really, really nice, and the story is basically a very optimistic, fluffy little story about how she fixes all of her problems just by being a nice person.
Mm-hmm. It literally turns evil people good by I will say this is the cutest thing I have ever seen in any anime or manga. Like, without a doubt. I don't think there is anything cuter than this. Like, this is the cutest thing.
I would say it's a close second to my final thing on the list, but yeah, okay. I love it as well. I think it's adorable. I think it's wholesome and optimistic, and I just have a good time reading it. It's basically the failing upwards trope where a character does something and just unintentionally succeeds without even trying. Do's a little kid, so she has no idea about any ramifications of anything. She's just a really nice little kid, and makes everyone's life better around her accidentally, more or less, or just by being nice.
Nice, yeah. And the side characters are great. I like whoever the second in command girl is really funny, trying to kind of fight against her goodness and teaching her to be bad, and it never works.
To be a quote unquote good demon, which is being an evil demon.
And the dad is super cute. Everybody, and everyone you meet in the series is like, it doesn't matter. Like, Do wins against. It's kind of like One Punch Man of cuteness. Like, doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Do wins
exactly.
every encounter with how cute she is. I am also surprised that this is not more popular. This, because it is like, I'm not even kidding. I think this is like legitimately one of, if not the cutest thing I have ever seen in anime or manga. Like, it's just so cute and so uplifting and so like pure
it's a
and
fun
saccharine and sweet, and it's fun. Yeah, it's just like. I'm choking. It's so cute.
Yeah, there's a lot of space for like really fluffy series like this, I think this does it better than a lot.
I think it does it better than just about any of them, but yeah.
I'd agree. Like it's a nice palate cleanser. So if you're looking for something like that, go check this one out. I don't think it's anything so deep and nuanced that I can explain more about it. I think just go check it out. It's a fluffy, really cute manga that I think anyone with a beating heart would enjoy.
Yep. All right, next up. All right, I have to stop before we go to the next one. I need you to do something for me, Gautam. And listeners, watchers, if you're there, I need you to do this too. I need you to close your eyes.
Okay, done.
I need you to imagine. Full Metal Alchemist.
Full Metal Alchemist.
Okay, good. You picked up on it. I need you to imagine how good Full Metal Alchemist is.
It's so good.
It's so good. It is at the top of Mal. Like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is the top anime of Mal. I think it deserves to be. I think it deserves to be there. I think Hiromu Arakawa is one of the greats all time of manga writing, character design, creation. She is amazing. But eyes still closed. I want you to imagine what would a sequel to Full Metal Alchemist look like? What about a spiritual sequel? What would that be like?
Here's what I'm imagining. Guy who lives in Tokyo goes to a farm and has to go to a farming school going forward. That's roughly what I'm imagining. Okay,
that's Silver Spoon. That's Hiromu Arakawa's other series.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Okay, but imagine her writing another series. Now,
I can't.
Okay, now the last thing I need you to do is you need to turn your volume down just a little bit because I'm about to fucking yell. Why aren't more people reading Yomi no Tsugai? This is the best fucking thing. I fucking love this series. It's so goddamn good. Hiromu Arakawa is the top 2 all-time currently publishing manga creators. This is Full Metal Alchemist authors, sequel series, and if you go on Reddit and when you see the chapters posted, there's like 70 upvotes, maybe 200, maybe a couple of, 20, 30 comments. What the fuck? This is better than every single thing being published in Weekly Shonen Jump right now. Maybe, except for maybe One Piece. There's a debate there. It doesn't matter.
My eyes.
You can open your eyes now. Yeah, it's you can look at it. Yeah, the volume 1.
Okay, it's beautiful.
It's so good. I'm frothing at the mouth because this series is literally, I think this is one of, if not the best things being published right now. And no one in the West cares. I feel like no one cares. It's literally the author of the number 1 rated anime on Mal for Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is 15 years old now. I think 14. I think 2009 it started, maybe 2010. 12 or 13 years old.
Do you think it's because
the cultural impact of Full Metal Alchemist is massive? Everyone knows what it is, even if you haven't seen it. I could show you the characters and you'd be like, oh yeah, Full Metal Alchemist. Full Metal Alchemist. Anyways, and this is the same author, and no one is fucking reading it in the West, and I'm so mad. This is my number 1 recommendation. You should be reading this. If you are not reading Yomi no Tsugai, go read it. It's called Daemons of the Shadow Realm. It has a stupid English name.
That's why it's not popular.
It has a stupid English name, which is literally going to kill it when it comes out, but this is in Japan, this is already very popular. I think every volume of this hits the top 10 when it comes out. It's like I said, it's they know. The Japanese people know. They understand, oh yes, Arakawa, everything she comes out with is amazing. Silver Spoon was awesome. Full Metal was one of, if not the best shonen, seinen crossover things to ever happen in the history of manga and anime. I'm yelling at my microphone. Go fucking read Yomi no Tsugai. It is so, so, so good. I'll prime you on it a little bit. There's people. There's a little hidden village. There's twins. And then a bunch of people show up, fuck stuff up. That starts the story. Go read it. Just go read it. The cool thing here, and what's missed in the English title, we'll go over a little bit of Japanese here. I think it is the word Yomi. I don't remember if it's Yomi or Tsugai. One of these words has something to do with twins, right? And the sort of power system in this has to do with people making contracts with like demons, but there's not just one demon. There's always a pair of demons that work together. So the main character has these 2 rock statues behind him are called. They're called what is left and right. They're called Migi and Hidari or something like that. Whatever left and right in Japanese is. In the English version, they just call them left and right, which are these 2 like hyper powerful, really strong things. But it's cool because at first it doesn't ever explain to you that like, oh yes, every demon comes in like a pair of 2. And so one of the first things you encounter is like a mouth, right? It's just a big mouth that eats stuff. You're like, whoa, that's a cool thing. What you don't realize is that later you learn that yeah, the top half of the mouth and the bottom half of the mouth are actually the 2 halves of the same demon. And there's a bunch of other little stuff. There's like, anyways, the power system is really cool. It's really intriguing. It's almost, I'll hook in with it. I'll cast a little net. It's a little isekai-like. Did I get you? It's a little bit like an isekai. This kid grows up. Yeah. This kid grows up in sort of a hidden village outside of Tokyo, and the attack that happens in the first chapter means that he has to go into Tokyo, and he is not a modern man, so to speak. But the main character is so cool. Like imagine like a more like stiff, badass Ed from Full Metal Alchemist. Some similar wavelengths, but also very different. He's much more sort of. He's like willing to kill people. He will literally he'll just murder you because he was trained to do that. But everything is really cool. The political intrigue is great. The writing is good. Hiromu Arakawa can do more world building in like 10 or 20 chapters than any other mangaka I've ever read. I'm trying to think of how many chapters we're on now. Not that many. We're only maybe like 28 or 29. No, maybe not even that many. Maybe like 26 chapters, 25 chapters. And this is like, there's so much world building in this series. It's insane. I love it. I'll try not to yell too much. I'm not going to burst a vein. Go read Yomi no Tsugai. The best thing being published right now, hands down. It's the Full Metal Alchemist author. She is writing another shonen. It is just as good, if not better. Why are more people not reading this? Okay, you can turn your volume back up a little bit now.
I think it's because of the shit name.
I think it's because it's monthly and people didn't realize, right? Like,
well, so is FMA.
Yeah, but most people saw the anime for FMA first. Let's be honest.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah.
Once this gets an anime, I guarantee you, one season of this anime, this is the new big thing, because easy.
It's all about an inevitability, right? That this gets an anime.
Pretty much. I mean, just the advertising for it alone, of like from the creator of Full Metal Alchemist and Silver Spoon, like you literally tap that, and everyone's ears are going to perk up.
Arakawa's a genius. She made me care about farming, right?
Yeah,
she made me like I read Silver Spoon and I was like, whoa, I bet farming would be fun. And I know deep down in my bones that I would hate it, but but like Silver Spoon put me in a world where I thought farming is a potential career option. You know, like that's like, hey, that would be pretty fun.
And there's like, reading Silver Spoon is like, she's so good at humanizing and explaining all the stuff that it's like, I could probably work in some angle of like, food service production, or like it's very complex. And the story of that is, Arakawa was born in Hokkaido and grew up on a dairy farm in Hokkaido. So she's like very connected to that sort of world. And she wanted to just write a series to let people know, like, here's where your food fucking comes from. Like, pay attention to it and have compassion for it.
That was such a meaningful chapter. Yeah. I love that.
It's great. Yeah. She works miracles.
Arakawa's a genius. TLDR.
So good.
Go read Yomi no Tsugai.
Yeah. So good. Okay, Gautam, give me your last series.
Yeah, this is another one where, just like your last one, I will be gushing about this one. This is just serotonin distilled into a manga that you can consume to make yourself feel better at any time. It's a magic formula. They say fairies potions don't exist, but that's wrong. Read Yotsuba, you'll find out. It is the cutest thing in the universe. It is the most fun, wholesome manga I've ever read in my life. I would give One Piece a 10 out of 10. I don't know how many other manga I would. I can't think of many. Maybe FMA.
I give Monster 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I would give Yotsuba a 10 out of 10. I can't even dock a point for anything. It is that good. And I said that Demon King's daughter is a close second. It is a close second in terms of cuteness. Yotsuba, every single character is delightful. It is surprisingly nuanced. And Yotsuba is different than every other anime little kid, because I think every other anime little kid has a bit. It feels like an adult is writing them in some way or another, because they know too much, or they use vocabulary too much, or they go the opposite direction where they speak like a little idiot moron. Like, that's not a little kid. It's like, I don't know. Yotsuba is the perfectly written anime little kid. She acts like every fucking little kid who has too much energy. I think this is a fantastic 10 out of 10 series. I cannot recommend it enough. Anytime I'm feeling bad, I read Yotsuba, and it definitely makes me feel better every single time. So if you want something that is just so goddamn easy to read and just pure excellence in manga form, read Yotsuba. I know this one is not that unpopular, but it is not popular. It's not as popular as it should be, because the author just puts out new chapters when they have ideas. Mm-hmm.
It's not published super consistently, and I think it's not. Volumes are also kind of inconsistent published, so. And
she's 4chan's mascot, so been that way since the inception of that website.
That might take a point away for some people. Let's lay it out there.
Well, it's just a fact. But even they like Yotsuba. Everybody likes Yotsuba. It's impossible not to if you read it. So TLDR, go check out Yotsuba. Of anything I mentioned in this list, I think Yotsuba should be your number one. Because it is just that good. So
yeah, Yotsuba. Yeah, you're looking for something nice, easy, chill, fun, relaxing, happy to read. Yotsuba to.
And it's hilarious. It's fucking hysterical.
It is funny. I've read 10 or 15 chapters of this. It's good. It's much more episodic, and I am not always looking for that kind of episodic read, but
it is purely episodic. It follows the life of Yotsuba, who does different and cool things every day.
Yep. Cool. I think that's it for our recommendation list. Let's go back over them one by one, just so you've got a little list here at the end. We wholeheartedly recommend Ranger Reject or Sentai Daishikkaku by Negi Haruba, The Apothecary Diaries, that is by Natsu Hyuga and Nekokurage, Don't Toy With Me, Miss Nagatoro by Nanashi, Yumenashi-sensei no Shinroshidou by Kasahara Masaki, You and I Are Polar Opposites by Kocha Agasawa, Record of Ragnarok by Shinya Umemura, Takumi, Fukui, and Ajichika, Boys Abyss by Ryou Minenami. Japanese practice. Here we go. The Demon King's Daughter is Too Kind by Sakamoto Yuya, Yomi no Tsugai by Hiromu Arakawa, and Yotsubato by Kiyohiko Azuma. And that is our list of 10 manga that you should be reading that you are probably not reading. But maybe you are. If you are, let us know in the comments. If there's something else you think maybe we should be reading, also let us know in the comments. And don't put shit like Jujutsu Kaisen down there, because that's not what we're looking for here. What are your
that's too popular. That gets the credit it receives. But it's kind of funny we say that, because Arakawa and Azuma are like legends in the industry. It's just that we feel that Yomi no Tsugai and Yotsuba just deserve to be more popular than
and these suggestions are also specific for our audience, which is in the West, right? These are, if you're Japanese and you're watching this, you're probably going like, these guys are idiots. These are all super popular series. Like, everybody loves these around here. But no. In the West, monthly, I would say things that are published monthly and things that are inconsistently published are much harder for people to get into. In comparison to things that are published weekly or bi-weekly, right? Those catch on pretty easily, I would say. I think we have an honorable mention slide also here of a couple other things. Mine is from Jump Plus. I think yours is also from Jump Plus, right? Or no, it's from a different one.
I don't think Iruma's in Jump, but it feels very jumpy.
It feels very jumpy, yeah, I guess. So tell me about Marimashita Iruma-Kun by Osamu Nishi.
Yeah, I also thought this had I wouldn't say a bad anime adaptation, but a very low budget one. I think Iruma is... It should very much be a Shonen Jump manga because it feels just like one. But it is... It's a human boy going to a demon school academy, pretending to be a demon. And it is another one of those where he is just incredibly kind and fails his way upwards as well. It is a lot like Demon King's Daughter in that way, where his only skill set, his only thing he's good at is dodging. And aside from that, he is just a weak human in every other way. But he's like climbing his way up the ladder in kind of hilarious and great ways. I think Iruma is a very positive and fun Shonen Jumpy style manga. So if you're looking for something like a JJK or any kind of shonen thing like My Hero Academia, this is that, but with a very positive and fun MC. So check it out. It's pretty popular, but not nearly as huge as any Jump properties, and I think it should be.
And it's pretty deep, isn't it? Like 200 or 300 chapters in. It's been going for a while, right?
It is something like that. Yeah, I don't know what the current chapter is.
So there's a lot of backlog if you want to catch up on that one for sure.
It's a very easy read too. So I would, if you decide to get into this, I would go in with the mindset that this is going to be a fun and easy read for you, and not something that requires major focus or anything like that.
Yeah. And my little bonus that I wanted to tack onto the end here, speaking of My Hero Academia, you want to read a better version of that? Go read Vibration Man by Iwai Tuki. We've talked about this on the podcast, I want to say at least twice in the last 2 or 3 months. Best advice I can give you is literally just skip chapter 1. Chapter 1 of Vibration Man is bad, and chapter 2 on is really, really good. This has the same kind of power angle as something like One Piece, where you think, oh, the main character's power, that's stupid, that's not a super strong power, or he's kind of bad at it. I think this has a great MC. I think this has great character designs. I think the power stuff, the power and the school angle is already better than My Hero Academia ever treated it. I like that the main character is kind of a shitbag. He's kind of looking to be like a popular superhero. He's not like an all nice dude with a bunch of good feelings. This is pretty new. I want to say it's only maybe 20 chapters in, and maybe not even that many. Pretty new series on Jump Plus, but it's really, really good. I really wish more people were reading it. I think, unfortunately, something we've talked about in the past also is that having a bad chapter 1 can do a lot of damage for you. You really need to have a really good chapter 1. And Vibration Man, in my opinion, has one of the worst chapter 1s I have ever read. But
it feels like, okay, so it's like a little complex for me, right? I wouldn't say it's like dog shit horrible, but it feels like like those extra chapters at the end of a manga that's just like a bonus chapter. It feels like that was like a filler bonus chapter.
It feels like a really
pilot.
It feels like like a really bad like one shot that doesn't even apply. The story starts in chapter 2.
It's a filler chapter.
It's just like a filler chapter, to try to introduce you to everything. I don't know. It just just literally doesn't work.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I don't think it was bad content, but it was a terrible pilot chapter.
An awful first chapter for sure.
Yeah.
So anyways, we've talked about that in the past. This is a really, really good series. I get really excited when this comes out to read it now. And really great. And again, I think that not enough people are reading this. I think that especially if you are burnt out on My Hero Academia, like I know Gautam and I have been for the past 5 years, for me at least, maybe 6. Vibration Man is a breath of fresh air because it's starting from a really good place, and I like the way it's developing. And I really hope it can hold on. I think because it's Jump Plus, it probably can. And I think it's doing better than... fucking The Game Devil is still running somehow in Jump Plus.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
That's weird.
There was a new chapter today that I saw, and I was like, how is that still going? That series is awful. But anyways, so bonus recommendations, bringing our list total to 12. Marimashita Iruma-Kun by Osamu Nishi and Vibration Man by Iwai Tuki. That's what we think you should be reading. So let us know if you're reading any of these, and let us know your feelings, your comments, your thoughts. Give us a thumbs up on the way down to that comment section, because I know you're going to leave them.
Dude, leave some Yotsuba related comments. I'll engage.
Yeah, or tell me,
engage because I'm such a fanboy.
Yeah, tell me that you're reading Yomi no Tsugai, and I'll just literally draw and send you a gold star. There's a little bit of news this week, not a whole lot. I wanted to wish happy birthday to Rumiko Takahashi. This is the mangaka of Ranma 1/2 and Urusei Yatsura. She's turning 66. She is a very, very influential mangaka, even though I don't think she sort of currently does anything. She's retired, I assume, at 66. But
she did so much.
Yeah, seriously.
She earned the retirement.
Yeah, Ranma 1/2 for the sort of romance genre was a big thing, and I believe Urusei Yatsura was the same. I haven't read either of these. I'm interested to. They're definitely before our generation. I think
I'm forgetting something. Like there's something more popular than Ranma that she did.
Urusei Yatsura, Urusei Yatsura, I think.
Oh
was
yeah,
the more
Inuyasha.
Popular. Of course, Inuyasha. Yeah. There you go. Yeah. That's definitely more accurate or more appropriate to the two ones that I gave. So yeah. Happy birthday to her. Go check out her work if you're interested in that, if you like Inuyasha. There was a My Hero Academia X Uno collab announced. That is Uno the card game. This is probably just going to be a themed deck. I thought that is worthy enough to put in the news. Why not? There it is.
I think Twice should be like the wild draw 4. If they didn't do that, then I'm pissed already.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, like who
are the cards?
Who's the card? Okay, wait. How does Uno work? Is it 1 to 9?
Yeah, it's 1 to 9.
1 to 9, 0, 4 colors. Is there a 0? And then it's draw 2, draw 4, skip, reverse. Are those the cards?
Yeah, wild. There's a wild and then a wild draw 4.
That's
and
right.
There are just regular draw 4s. There's a skip and reverse. Yeah, exactly.
Skip, reverse, and draw 2. Right? Aren't there also draw 2s?
Yeah, I think there are.
I don't know. It's not a podcast about the rules of Uno. What's the next? The next thing we've got.
No, let's talk about Uno for another.
All right. Yes. We'll skip ahead to 2 hours, 15 minutes if you don't want to listen to the Uno discussion. No, just kidding. We're only going to be here for another 5 or 10. So the manga When Will Ayumu Make His Move, that is by Soichiro Yamamoto, is ending in 5 chapters. I think we maybe talked about this a week or two ago. The interesting thing here is that this is going to mark the end of all 3 of Yamamoto's running series, and I think in the past year or 2. That is like Teasing Master Takagi-san, When Will Ayumu Make His Move, and then the last one about the ninjas that I never read. All 3, the Teasing Master Takagi-san ended, I think, last week or 2 weeks ago. When Will Ayumu Make His Move ends in a month or so. All of their series are going to be ended. So either they're retiring, which is kind of my guess. I think they've been in the business for a while, or they've got some big thing coming down the pipeline. So interested to see
retirement because they've been like consecutively doing so many series. That is so much work.
I mean, a year ago they were doing 3 series at the same time, and they had been doing that for a couple of years, I assume, 2 or 3 years before then. That is such an
unbelievable amount of work that whatever happens, they like if it's just a break or it's retirement, they earned it. That's so much work.
Sure. All of that being said, however, Teasing Master Takagi-san has the spin-off, which is, I guess it's technically just called More Teasing Master Takagi-san. It's like Takagi's, whatever the Japanese title is, Moto, which Moto is just more. The author of that, who's a different author from Yamamoto, is going to be continuing doing another spin-off. So I believe Takagi Moto is ending. That's the one where they're married and their daughter is like, I don't know, 3 or 4 or 5, something like that, 5 or 6. But the new series is going to be her in middle school with the boy who she has teased in her series. So literally basically just saying, hey, reboot the series with the guy who's been kind of doing to be honest, the kind of better version of Takagi-san.
I agree. I like it better too.
Yeah. Takagi Moto is generally, I would say, more enjoyable and better written than Takagi has been the last couple of years. It's just its
I think their idiot child is very funny and cute. I like Takagi Moto, and I like that the daughter Chi is way more like her dad. So she's really she's really just she takes L's nonstop. She flubs it. So yeah, I'm curious to see which they're definitely going to go in that direction where she's the one trying to tease someone but fucking up. I think that's going to be the gimmick,
For sure. That's it for the news. Got one more thing. Whose is first? It's me. I wanted to give a shout out. I'm going to make our pictures bigger again. My one more thing is kind of two things. The first one is the Japanese bookstore Kinokuniya, which I visited here locally in the town last weekend and bought some manga there, which I don't usually do. But I also bought my other one more thing, which is this, The Complete Art of Full Metal Alchemist by, guess who? It's Hiromu Arakawa, the goddess. In case you didn't know, huge fan of Arakawa, huge fan of Full Metal Alchemist. This is essentially every art piece that she ever did for Full Metal Alchemist, right? Every color page, every cover page, one of the coolest things I think is it's in the back of the book somewhere. But so the volume covers, she actually drew like a long version, right? Because it's like a folded front and back. So there's like it has every single volume's like long cover version of that she drew. Every color page, like I was saying, every color, every promotional image. If there was any kind of like, here's the cast of Full Metal Alchemist advertising, chips. And if Arakawa did art for it, it is in this book and it's like full size. It's a very, very cool book if you like art books. It was only like $35, which I thought was a steal. I looked on Amazon. Apparently that's just the price it goes for. So that seems like a steal to me because this is a really cool, really big book.
That is tight. I love, like, I've just been looking at it and there's like a lot of cute little details like Armstrong and the other muscle guy flexing on the top right. Yeah. It's cute.
It's great. I mean, there's tons of stuff. There's like promotional images for the first anime and for Brotherhood are in there. It goes sort of year by year. It starts in, I guess she started publishing this, I think in the year 2000. Because I think it goes 2000 to 2011. So it's 11 years she published Full Metal Alchemist. And yeah, it's just really cool. But also big shout out to Kinokuniya. I went in there. I had not been in that bookstore for a couple of years. I think it was maybe start of COVID, maybe even right before COVID, the last time I went. And I remember going and being like, oh yeah, they've got some manga, it's on the walls here. Man, when I went this last time, I felt like they had everything. Like
they did. They had so much shit.
Like everything, almost everything we talked about, maybe not in this episode specifically, because some of the stuff's a little bit more niche and maybe only fan translated. But like I picked up some volume 1s of stuff that I wanted to support. I picked up volume 1 and 2 of Yomi no Tsugai. I picked up volume 1 of Ranger Reject. I picked up, which other one did I get? Maybe did I get volume 2 of Dan to Dan? I got something else. But anyways, yeah, it just like had stuff, and I was like, yeah, it's pretty cool in there. So very cool bookstore. If you've got a Kinokuniya near you, go check it out. It's very neat. Gautam, tell me what you've been doing.
On my end, I got a new controller because I was experiencing controller drift, and I played Sekiro. Oh, I'm playing through Sekiro, and it just made me realize that this game has clicked for me. In my first playthrough, I got to Ishin, and I got walled so hard that I quit. To
be fair, that is the last boss of the game. So
yeah, and he's really hard. To be fair, but I got owned so hard that I stopped playing. And now I'm here to make up for that. I'm gonna go beat Ishin. I am blazing through this game though. I'm not even trying to go fast. It's just that I something has clicked. I get how to parry now. I'm a huge Souls player, so I was playing this like Dark Souls, and I was getting fucking owned. But yeah, I have a good feeling. I'll redeem myself, and I'll report back.
Yeah, tell me about the because I suggested to you that you get an Xbox Elite controller, right? Which I have right here because I use it for gaming.
It's fucking tight.
It's amazing. Yeah, I can't sponsor me, Xbox. Sponsor the podcast. Well, I will advertise your Elite controllers. It is the best controller I've ever used. I love it. I wish I could use it on everything. It's so good.
I will say this is the best feeling controller I've played on.
Yes.
So much of it's customizable. As long as I can wholeheartedly recommend it as long as it doesn't break down very fast.
Mine lasted a good 3 or 4 years. So, and I used it pretty heavily before mine broke. I'm trying to remember.
Okay, cool.
I'm trying to remember what even. But I mean, like,
decent length of time.
yeah. Previously, I would buy, just because it was 5 or 6 years ago, I was buying 360 controllers, and I'd have to buy like one a year because they would just break or crap out, or they were cheap plastic. You drop them or you step on them accidentally, they just break, and that's like $60 like every year. So this is 160, I think, for maybe the full thing. I think you got the sort of pared down version for 100.
Yeah, I got the $100 version,
which doesn't have all the little customizable. Yeah. It's got places for like paddles on the back, and it has swappable. Because you have a different D-pad. You have sort of like the full circular D-pad, right?
Yeah, it looks like a what's the thing where sun hits it and it makes energy? Solar panel. It looks like a solar panel.
Oh yeah. See, I don't like that one. I like the other one. See, but you can swap them out.
Boop. That's tight.
Anyways, yeah, the controller is sick. So cool. Anything else this week you want to talk about, Captain? Are we good to get out of here?
I think we wrap.
Let's call it. Hey, thank you again for listening or watching, everyone. Don't forget, go to the comments. Tell us what you think we should be reading. If you pick up one of these series and you really like it, or maybe you hate it, come in and tell us in the comments. We like that. Give us a like, give us a thumbs up. Any positive reinforcement you can. We really, really appreciate that. If you want a bit more manga content, just listen to me tweet a little bit. Follow me on Twitter at WGBManga. You can also find us at Patreon in case you are wildin' and just swimming in the cash. I know none of us are. So that's patreon.com/WGBmanga. I think that's it, Captain. Say goodbye to everybody.
Oh, yeah. Goodbye, everybody.
Thank you again for being with us this week. And hey, don't forget to read more manga.